Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is August 23rd, and we're going to start off as we always do on a positive note. That's right, these are your pro wrestling birthdays. 1968, SmackDown #1 announcer, Funaki. 1988, one part of Lucha House Party, Grand Metalik. Of course, on the flip side of that coin, your pro wrestling deaths for August 23rd. Former NWA Texas Brass Knuckles champion, The Lawman. Alright, enough of the sad stuff. It's time to get to the meat and potatoes. That's right, these are your pro wrestling history highlights for August 23rd. Jumping in the Wayback Machine and going all the way to 1929, where we see Dick Shakot defeat Jim Londos in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to win the National Wrestling Association World Heavyweight title. Shakot was already recognized by New York State Athletic Commission since defeating Hans Stank 5 months earlier in Chicago, Illinois. Skipping over the 30s and going to the 40s, 1941. Frank Sexton defeats Bill Longson for the Pacific Coast Heavyweight title in San Francisco, California. 3 years later, in 1944, Yvonne Roberts defeats Frank Sexton to win the Montreal Athletic Commission World Heavyweight title. Sticking in 1944, Sandar Sabot defeats Dean Denton for the Pacific Coast Heavyweight title, ending Denton's third reign. Moving into the 50s, 1958. Gene Dubuque and Mike Valentino defeat Ramon Torres and Dick Warren for the San Francisco NWA World Tag Team titles in Sacramento, California, beginning their second reign. Moving to the groovy 60s, 1961. Whipper Billy Watson defeats Gene Knitsky for the Vancouver, British Columbia Heavyweight title. Sticking in 1961, Dick Dunn defeats Dr. Jerry Graham for the NWA Gulf Coast Heavyweight title in Mobile, Alabama. Moving to 1963, Bearcat Wright defeats Fred Blassie by countout in Los Angeles, California to win the World Wrestling Association World Heavyweight title. This ends Blassie's third reign with that title. Moving ahead to 1968, the professional Doug Gilbert defeats Tarzan Tyler to win the NWA Georgia Heavyweight title in Atlanta, Georgia. Grabbing my best polyester suit and going to the 70s, 1973. Ken Lucas defeats Rocket Monroe for the NWA Mississippi Heavyweight title. 1975, the Invaders defeat Moondog Mayne and Pat Patterson for the San Francisco NWA World Tag Team titles in San Francisco, California, beginning their second reign. 1977, the Medics win their fourth Tri-State NWA United States Tag Team title in Shreveport, Louisiana by defeating Pork Chop Cash and Mike George. Our last stop in the 70s, 1978, Killer Carl Krupp defeats the Lawman on his birthday? No, it's not his birthday. This was unfortunately the day he died. In Abilene, Texas, for the NWA Texas Brass Knuckles title. Grabbing my boombox and going to the 80s, 1980. Wahoo McDaniel defeats Tully Blanchard in San Antonio, Texas to win the Southwest Championship Wrestling Heavyweight title, ending Blanchard's fifth reign. 2 years later, in 1982, Dean Ho and Moondog Moriarty defeat Bruiser Costa and Butcher Hughes in a tournament final for the Vancouver NWA International Tag Team titles. 2 years later, in 1984, the Uptown Boys, Marty Jannetty and Tommy Rogers, defeat the Grapplers, Tony Anthony and Len Denton, to win the NWA Central States Tag Team titles in Kansas City, Kansas. This began and ended each team's second reign. And 1991, the Patriot defeats Al Perez to become the first GWF North American Heavyweight Champion in Dallas, Texas. As a result, the GWF television title was vacated. Perez had beaten the Patriot on August 10th in a tournament final, but was later shown that his feet were on the ropes during the pin. And last but not least, 1993, the USWA held a matter of pride at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee, with a main event of Lex Luger defeating WWF champion Yokozuna in a non-title match. Those were your short but sweet pro wrestling history highlights for August 23rd. I'm the Eclectic Gentleman Stephen Watts, and we'll see you tomorrow.